Hey, if I could have your attention, please. It is 1:30. Today is June 6th, 2023, and this is the Chartered Clubs Committee meeting. If you could please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. We have a quorum. Carol Card has an excused absence, but we have, she's the only one missing. So the first order of business is the approval of minutes from May 2nd, 2023. Are there any changes or updates? Okay, seeing none, they will stand as written. Casey, if you want to do your staff report, that'd be great.
Good afternoon. Just things. One, I have been having additional officer meetings, which have been good. There's a couple clubs that do their fiscal year starting in April. So with the new turnover, I've been adding. And then if, just to kind of put it out there, if your club feels you need to do that, we are very open to helping and doing an additional officer meeting with any of the clubs. The other thing is some of you will start hearing from some of the leads that's coming from me, but we're doing some cleanup, spring, summer cleaning, if you will. If you haven't used it, you know, like Mom always said, in 2 years, throw it away. Some of the things are from 2009 that have been told you guys can absolutely remove of that. So some of you will be hearing from us. And then lastly, scheduling. As our scheduling department has been entering all the information with the clubs, I also had a charter club committee person comment on this, but we've noticed it. We're noticing a lot of clubs are doing more than their minimum general membership meetings. It used to be 4. 4 is fine, that's very reasonable. But we have some up to 10, even 12. So it's getting a little cumbersome with the clubs. Remember how many clubs we have, how many locations we have, which is not very many in comparison to, and how we can help all the clubs succeed. So I know you guys are going to start looking at the RR&Ps and just looking at how we can better operate in the sense of controlling how many general membership meetings are really needed for each club. So I just wanted to address that. Do you want to take anything? Okay. It's just becoming a regular thing with many, many clubs. So it's getting hard. It's the club's activities because it's typically going to be the Social Hall and Palm Ridge Summit Hall. And same with board meetings. Board meetings shouldn't have 50 to 100 people in it, and it's happening. So, and that's displayed in other rooms. So just wanted to kind of get that out there. I did put an email out, I guess about a month ago, talking about some requirements that we would like to see and so on and so forth, but I just kind of want to address the issue and the challenges we're facing, and the scheduling hasn't even put in club activities in yet, or special events.
Okay, anything else, Casey?
That's
okay.
it.
Great, thank you. Okay, let's go to liaison reports. I'm going to start over here on my left with Mary Kay.
I have the hobbyist clubs, and they're pretty much quiet now this summer. Couple of the clubs are on hiatus. The other ones have their summer hours, so activities are diminished. Nothing to report.
Kathy and I have the craft clubs, and so far it's been a very quiet summer.
Okay, Nick?
Yeah, I have Dance and Fitness. I emailed all my presidents 3 or 4 weeks ago. I've had only one reply, which was saying everything's fine. I haven't heard back from any of the others. So nothing to report.
No news is good news. Hey, Vicky?
I have half of the sports clubs, and I finished up with my half a couple of weeks ago when I went out and started to learn how to play bocce and learned how much strategy is involved in that game. So if I still have that group next year, I'll start up again.
Okay, thank you, Vicky. Connie?
I have the social clubs, and I've had a couple of clubs reach out with things that we're working on, nothing major, and it's been a quiet summer.
Okay. Kathy, you want to add anything? Nope. Okay, Judy?
I have card clubs, and other than working on one room utilization situation that we're still working on with Casey, and a couple of small club track issues, I mean small, that we were able to resolve right away, things are going well.
Okay, good. Sounds like things are in good shape. Nick, do you want to give us an update on the space utilization requirements working group?
Yes, we have been meeting weekly since the formation at the end of April. We've met with General Manager, IT, Club Liaison officers, and so on, and we're discussing what we're working on. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the working group, is we were tasked with forming requirements for, if you like, club track and how that can be used to track space utilization and also participation rates and membership of clubs. We're not looking at who gets what space and why. We're looking at how efficiently a space may be being used. So if that causes any consternation, we're just looking at requirements for the software. We're not looking at anything else in terms of policies and so on. We built on the good work of the Club Track Subcommittee, which reported a few weeks ago. They interviewed as many clubs as they could and club presidents as they could about Club Track and what information they'd like to see coming from it. We've learnt many things, one of which is perhaps that, although Sun City West is the recreation centres of Sun City West as an organisation is in fact small compared to many businesses. It is, we are in fact one of the largest retirement communities in the United States of America, and our requirements are in fact very, very complex. And so that's led us to dig and uncover some, of the business requirements. What is it that the business needs from the software, not how do we tweak the software? As a result of that complexity, we've actually got over 100 requirements. And as you could imagine, that's a lot, and it's a lot to manage. So we have, in fact, started prioritizing those. We've completed that into must-haves, nice-to-haves, can do without, and completely irrelevant given the scope that we were given by the governing board. So we're currently working on our report and recommendations. We've been asked to deliver that by the end of this month, and I believe that we are on target to do that. Internally as a group, we've just started discussing that final report and its format.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any questions from the committee for Nick? Okay, good deal. Okay, we're going to go to, which I think is probably what everybody's here for, is we're going to start looking at the RR&Ps. I want to talk a little bit about how we're going to go through this process. Some of you may remember that the RR&Ps were revised and edited 2 years ago, I think it was by now. And that was a tumultuous experience, I think is the best way to categorize that. So we're going to do things a bit differently this time, try and make it a little easier. So what we're going to do is, the purpose of these meetings for right now is for this committee to look at the red lines and to agree on the wording. What you have seen online and what you may have brought with you is just a starting point. Everything is up for discussion. There are nothing cast in stone, nothing even close to being cast in stone or concrete or whatever you want to say. So this committee is going to work, and we're going to meet today. Since this is the last meeting of the fiscal year for this committee, we will get through what we have laid out There are 4 areas that we're going to look at today. Hopefully, we can get through all of them. I think I'm going to call a time at 3 o'clock so that we can, we're not just constantly going through these things, because I know there's a point of no return with people's attention span, including those of us up here. But what we're going to do is then, beginning in September, this committee is going to meet twice a month through the end of December. The first meeting of the month will be our regular Chartered Clubs Committee meeting, where we will conduct our Chartered Clubs business. If we have time, we'll also do a section or so of the RR&Ps. The second meeting of the month will be dedicated to the RR&Ps. And we'll go through the entire document. We'll go through all of the red lines. We'll either accept or reject them. We'll add things, take things out, so that when we get to the end of December, we will hopefully have done everything and we have a complete document. Only then will it go to the governing board. You may recall a couple of years ago, it was given to the governing board in multiple pieces, and it was often necessary to go back and redo some of the things that were previously agreed upon. We're going to try to avoid that this time by just presenting the whole document rather than pieces to the governing board. So with that, and then what I'll do is we will leave time for questions and comments at the end for the audience members. We'll try to leave about 20, 30 minutes so we can do that, so that everybody can have their say within the time that we have. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. You want to, Martin? Okay, we're good. Okay, I'm not going to worry about changing the table of contents. That will change as we... Yeah. It's a field. It's a Microsoft Word field. The rest of it you should be able to read. The other thing I should say, that all of the edits that have been put into this have been came from discussions with management, with the governing board, directors, situations that we've had with clubs that have caused us to reevaluate and look at these things. So all of these we're not just making this stuff up. These stuff comes from real life comments and feedback from people. So when you look through this, to kind of help you with what you're looking at, where you see the black type, that is content that was already in the RR&Ps. That was there, that has not been touched. Anywhere that there is a red line, or if sometimes there might be a different color, blue, that is something that has been changed. So you'll see a strike through, there'll be which indicates a deletion, and you'll see an underline, which is an insertion. The other thing that you may see in here is a yellow highlight. That's a reminder that there's a dependency outside of the RR&P, such as a policy or something like that needs to be done. So any questions on that? Everybody? Okay. Let's go through the preamble. Anybody have any comments on number 1? Nope. As is. Okay. Number 2. Any comments? Can I accept the deletion of general guidelines? Silence implies consent, so if you don't say anything, that's... Rules? Accept? Some of these are just wording. So, okay, I'm just going to keep going through until you tell me to stop. Yes, and please keep your comments to yourself. No, I'm asking the committee for comment. You get yes, you do. You have at the end. You give you 20 to 30 minutes. No, there's time at the end. No, this is not a democratic process. This is a process to do what's best for Sun City West, and rules, guidelines are insufficient. The reason we changed from guidelines to rules is, if you recall, from the Tournaments, Leagues, and Special Events Committee, what they found is that clubs were using the guidelines and violating the guidelines. Guidelines are suggestions. These are not suggestions. I'm going to accept the insertion of the R and online at suncitywestclubs.com. That, by the way, is a link to the website. And I'm just changing the wording here, are available and online at boarddocs.com. And I'm going to remove that entry. And I just changed the URL because they were not in the appendix. And this is I'll change, that's a formatting change. Okay, okay, this is a net new section. So let's start here. Any questions or comments on this from the committee? Yes, Mary Kay.
On that very first line, you have Sun City West, and then you have
Oh.
Sun City West in parentheses.
Good catch.
You wanted that to be SCW?
No, I want to remove that.
Oh, okay.
Good catch. Thank you. Anything else in that paragraph? Silence implies consent. Oh.
Okay, I do have a question, because golf and bowling have a lot more than occasional invited guests, and I wonder if there should be some kind of exclusion or additional explanation here.
So golf and bowling are not governed by chartered clubs. They are amenities of Sun City West, and they are not, even though there are clubs, there's work in progress to address that.
Okay.
Okay, so the first paragraph, unless I'm going to accept that unless there's from the committee. Oops, I guess I got to do the whole thing. I know, but I have to look at the changes. So this references a statement that came from the governing board that was adopted. The chartered clubs system adopted the following statements below in 2011, and those are reproduced here. So that is the exact verbiage that I copied and pasted in here. So, but the important thing here, the message here, is that this is why the clubs exist and how the facilities get used. And it also states something that has been spoken but has not been documented heretofore, is that the membership dues that we all pay are for the operating and maintenance of the facilities, and clubs should not, make us incur additional expenses to maintain those facilities, just as individual homeowners should do the same. So the next paragraph talks about what a charter is.
Okay. On the bottom line there, where it says minimum requirements during the life of the club, there's a number 1 there.
That is supposed to be a superscript. It refers to the footnote at the bottom here.
Okay. Right here.
It keeps changing back to away from a superscript.
Jack? Are we on the first paragraph, under the bolded paragraph?
Yes.
Okay. I would suggest that in the third line there, it should be group of Sun City West cardholders has petitioned.
As petitioned, okay?
Okay.
Any other comments on that? Okay, we'll take that as approved. Beginning with the paragraph of each club is its own taxable entity. That just describes the fact that each club is responsible for its own finances, and even though they're separate from the association, that they will be compliant with the association requirements, policies, and procedures in return for the association support. That's part of what a charter is about.
Is taxable the right word there? Should it maybe be corporate entity or IRS entity? Might not be a taxable.
For its own legal,
Own legal entity? Or
no,
corporate
a
entity?
club is responsible for its own legal activities. They have to, if they choose to hire an attorney, they are responsible for those charges. Is that the question?
No, the first line, each club is its own taxable entity.
Its own, oh, I see, oh, its own tax entry. Tax,
I'm not sure taxable is the right word.
okay. Got it, thank you.
Maybe it should be corporate entity,
Well, they're not corporations. They're not corporations.
IRS entity. You like the word taxable? That's fine if that's the right word.
How about each club has its own IRS identity?
Yes,
How about that?
yes,
Okay,
that's actually
Good.
what I had written down.
okay, anything else in that paragraph?
You're probably going to hear me say this a lot during the next hour or so, but that one about the clubs agreeing to abide by bylaws and so on, and again in the next paragraph where clubs may not make commitments for the use of association facilities, are those rules that should be within the body of the RR&Ps and not within the introduction section, or do they need to be in both places?
I believe they are in both places.
Okay.
But keep that thought and keep me honest.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, that sentence, chartered clubs agree to abide by their bylaws. Instead of their, should it be association bylaws?
no, by the club's bylaws.
By the club's bylaws. Okay, I didn't read it that way.
Okay,
Yeah, their own bylaws. Do you have anything else that I changed?
there we go. Okay, anything else in that paragraph? Okay. Paragraph beginning, chartered clubs are allowed to use. Any comments? Okay. Okay, and any comments on the closing paragraph? Okay, I'm going to accept all of those. Okay, introduction. I'll change the number later. Oh, okay, well, since I accepted all of those, this is no longer red line, but we'll go through it anyway, since it's all net new. If you'd like, I can,
The whole thing was red.
Yeah, there we go.
so, no, that's fair. This is a net new addition. So one of the reason this section is here is that one of the things that the tournaments, leagues, and special events working group found is that there are clubs who are ignoring the RR&Ps. They don't believe that they apply to them, and they don't believe that they have any authority. So this section was inserted to make sure that every club understands that part of the RR&Ps are a real deal, and that they are obligated by virtue of their charter to obey and conform to the RR&Ps. So let's go through this section here. The first paragraph that begins with the first reference to clubs. Any comments on that? Okay. Next paragraph, beginning with the authority for these rules, regulations, and procedures.
That's good.
I just have one. It's just an edit. It's just the way it reads. The charter clubs are governed by the governing board. I don't
What would you say instead?
are controlled by the governing board. The RR&Ps are controlled by the governing board. Then you just avoid the word governing coming in.
How about authorized?
Yeah, that works. And I don't feel that strongly about it anyway.
Okay.
I think governed is.
Okay, that's good. Reads better. Okay, the next paragraph, the governing board receives its authority. Okay. And then of all of the authorities granted, the following paragraph with the 4 bullets. And the bullets are direct quotes. Okay, and then the final one is the statement that the governing board is the final arbiter of everything. Any comments on that?
Not on that. I was just wondering about an addition later on in the definitions on number 38. You've got the governing documents and the order of precedence of them. I'm just wondering if that fits here. It's a better fit here than further on in the definition. And it's number 38 in
Yeah.
the definitions later on.
Let's come back to that when we get to 30.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so that's 1, 2, preamble, introduction, and authority. Now we begin the definitions. So the number 1 is left as is. Number 2, all that was done here is to make it into complete sentences.
Jack,
Yes.
I think on line 2, we're on annual election meeting, right?
Yes, number 2.
Line 2, providing a quorum has been established or is established. Mhm.
Oh, good
You're just
catch.
missing a word.
I've turned off tracking, so that's why it's not showing up as red. Line 2. Oh, it is. It's already deleted.
I have a question on the second line. So the annual election meeting is a general meeting of the club's membership at which board members are elected, or when board members are elected, not where.
At which, okay.
Mhm.
I've also suggested some conventions in here where board, when we're discussing a club board, is a capital B and rather than constantly referring to chartered clubs, the capital C club is the alternative, where there's just a general discussion about clubs at the lowercase c. Line 3 of number 2.
Yeah, I've got a few here. The date, time, and place of the annual meeting must be posted during the month preceding, which means that they could post it on May 31st and hold the meeting on June 1st. I think it needs to be, that's vague.
Oh.
I think it needs to be something like 4 weeks notice.
Okay, so you agree with must be posted and announced,
Within-
yeah,
Yeah.
at least 30 days before.
Prior.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And my other comment on that
Must be
piece
posted
again
in
is
a
that
couple of activities.
it's a rule that's part of a definition. We define what an election meeting is, and then we put a rule about election meetings into the definition, is that should that stipulation about the date and time and notice be put within the meeting section in the body of the RR&Ps and not be part of the definition.
And what definition is it in?
At the moment, we have the date, time, and place of the annual meeting must be posted and announced, and so on. What I'm saying is that if this is a definition section, we define what the annual election meeting is. Later in the RR&Ps, in the election section of club operations, we say about the date, time, place, and notice. I'm just saying that we have a rule
Yeah.
here, which is part of a definition and not. So then in the rules, people go to, club officers go to the rules section to find out what they should be doing about their election meeting. This won't be there because this is in the definitions.
Okay, so we need to put this in the,
Yes.
okay, oh,
Yeah,
gotcha,
that's
sorry.
what and you're probably going to get fed up with me saying this as we go through.
No,
these
that's fine.
definitions. But there are a lot there here which I think are rules, not a definition.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have a list of all of these so that,
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I can let you have it later.
so I'm not editing on the fly and people can watch me type? That's ultimately boring. So are we good on annual election with Nick's change? I said, must be posted and announced at all club activities at least 30 days during the month preceding the 30 days prior to the meeting, preceding the meeting. Prior to the annual meeting. Okay. Associate member, let's talk about that. I added is,
Just a clarification, if they're an associate member but they can't vote in governing board elections, are they allowed to vote in club meetings?
yeah, they
Okay.
may vote in club meetings.
Perhaps we should put that in here then.
That's in the bylaws.
Okay.
And they can be a member of that charter club, right?
Yes, oh yes.
Okay, do
Yeah,
we need to
associ-
state that?
associates-
Do we need to state that here? I added, but may be a
It's-
member of the charter club.
It's in the bylaw, it's in the bylaws
leave
template.
Okay.
Okay, so they hold it in an associate membership card and access to the chartered clubs. I can remove that, which was old. An associate member does not hold voting rights for association elections. That's a true statement.
Then does it really need to be here? Because it's not about clubs, it's just about association elections.
I don't think it hurts to have it here. Okay, it's not going to change. But this, for some people, this may be the only place where they look for
Okay.
something. Then I have the definition of the association. The gray part that you see up there is a cross-reference within the document. It's a Microsoft Word feature. So that will be a link within the document. Okay, everything okay with number 4? Number 5. Number 5 is a cardholder is a resident of Sun City West. Well, you can read it. I don't need to read it to you. Any discussion on 5? Okay. 6. Okay, 7. Those of you who are presidents know what this is.
Yeah, I just have the second sentence there, contractors who sign as an association contract and so on. Is that a rule, again, that should be in the body? It's not part of the definition of a certificate of insurance.
That is also in the bylaws template. That
Okay.
contracts must be, they must fill a CR8.
Right, okay. Yeah, so just moving down to number 8, if we have here about contractors who sign an association contract must provide their certificate of insurance, do we need to say the same about liability in number 8? Because we don't say that they...
Well, there are other references to this in this document too.
Okay. Yeah,
I've tried not to put in anything that doesn't have a reference in here, but I mean, it's possible I may have.
Okay,
So keep me honest again.
yeah.
Excuse me, Jack. I think putting these definitions like this here is good because a lot of people aren't going to want to read 30 pages to get to one point if they could look right here and get their answer.
Yeah, my concern is people will look to the
Because-
body and not here.
But if it says the same thing, I mean, no matter, if you're a person that looks here, you'll find it. If you're a person that wants to read the whole body, you'll find it. But I don't know. I mean, I think most people, in my experiences, it's easier if you've got one highlighted outline, which is basically what this is with the terms, that you can look to and see the definition. Then if you're confused, go look it up further in the body that further defines it, but at least it gives you, it might answer your question just like that, as to who fits the bill.
And also there are table of contents entries for these too. Okay, so 7, 8.
First line, change your to a business.
Okay, thank you.
Jack, it'll be the second thing on the second line, same thing on the second line then. A company is insured instead of your.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to save this. Okay, any 7 and 8, we're good?
I have one question. I don't see here where it says that they have to be licensed. Do they have to be licensed to work with the rec center?
The bylaws say that, the club bylaws say that the officer is responsible for determining the qualifications for a contractor to be in and do business with it, to be part of that club. So for example, a club may decide to hire one of its members to teach a class. That person probably is not licensed, but they may have a contract to do that.
Okay. I was just thinking if it was something that a license was required, yeah, I see where you're coming from. I just wonder about some of the other type things where there might be more liability involved than there would be in teaching a class.
Well, that's where a CR8 That's where the
So, I mean, my question is, does the rec center require a license if someone is coming in, setting things up, doing something that structurally could be done a right way or a wrong way where someone could get hurt?
yes, if they are an outside party, they need
Yeah,
a contract.
okay.
They need a
That- yeah,
contract,
that's-
yes. Okay, number 9. Yes? Okay. Any other comments on number 9? Okay, number 10, chartered club. Move on to number 11. I just changed it from club bylaws to chartered club bylaws. Okay. I hate when it does that.
Jack,
Yes.
I'm going to make Nick's teeth hurt here. But I think since we are going to be specific on many of these things as we go through, I think we need to add something there about the bylaws do vary among chartered clubs, but the template is provided to ensure that issues relevant to all clubs are included, and then provide the reference location. So that they know that they have a place to go, so that they know that there is a template.
So dictate what you want me to type.
Okay, open to suggestions here, but I just had club bylaws vary among chartered clubs, but a bylaws template is provided to ensure that issues relevant to all clubs.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Bylaws vary among chartered clubs.
You know, do shorthand. But a bylaws template is provided to ensure that issues relevant to all clubs.
Hold on. Bylaws template is provided by the association to
Ensure that issues relevant to all clubs
how
are
about,
included.
instead of issues, how about situations, conditions,
Yeah,
situations?
any of that works for me, just so, I mean, just so
Well,
they
I'm-
know.
keep
Yeah, there's
going.
certain things we want
I
in
know, but what do you want
every,
me to, where you said issues, what comes after that?
oh, relevant to all clubs are included. And then I think we need to reference the location where they could find that.
CSCW clubs. And I'll make that a link.
I just have one other comment.
I will go through these, and if it's worded strangely, but I want to get the gist of what she's suggesting. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, just it says the rules are defining the duties and responsibilities of club membership. It also is club officers as well. It's more than just the duties and responsibilities of club membership in the bylaws.
okay.
There's the duties and responsibilities
on.
of the club officers.
Often. Yeah, but they have special duties. So officers, just members and officers?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Okay, anything else on bylaws? Number 11. Okay. Question?
On 12, Charter Club Council consists of multiple charter clubs, each being represented, formed to provide coordination and approved by the general manager. Coordination for what? For what?
This, Hey, Casey. Number 12 is something that was in the RR&Ps before. I left it in there, but I've never heard of it.
I'm assuming that's quite historical. There's only two councils. That's the Stardust Council and the Golf Council. And I will be very honest, they both are ran completely different. And I'm really would like to try and get a little bit more headway there. So moving forward, I can look up some history, but I've never had to request anything from Bill about any council request,
Okay, so we should just leave this alone.
probably.
Okay.
Well, no, they do exist.
Does it-
So so a charter club council consists of chartered clubs, each being represented. So that's like the Stardust Theater Council, which represents all of those clubs that use the Stardust Theater. And I think there's another one, and the Golf Council. So I'm just going to put those in there. Okay, so I learned something today.
There's another reference to them in I believe, the Charter Club Liaisons definition, which says the Charter Club councils are exempt from Charter Club Liaisons. I'm just wondering whether that sentence should be here and not with the Charter Club Liaisons.
We can put it in both places, actually.
Okay.
You can make a note of that.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay, number 13. Chartered Club Elected Board is a minimum, this is new, this is net new, is a minimum of 4 officers who manage a club's internal operations. And it cross-references the section in the document here. So it's a minimum of 4 officers. So I know there are clubs that have other officers, but this is just a minimum: president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. Okay, no discussion on that? Okay. And we'll move on to chartered club events. So this is where we start to get net new stuff, and we start to tighten up some of the definitions that have been a little loose and vague in the past, again, as found by the Tournaments, Leagues, and Special Events Working Group. So there are 2 types of chartered club activities. There's a chartered club activity, and then there's a chartered club special event, and we'll talk about each of those. So let's talk about chartered club activity. Let's look at that. Any questions about that or changes?
It's just a difference between the club activity and the club special event is that in the club activity, you don't include prospective members, which are included in the club special event.
So the thought here, so a club,
So you've got club members and their accompanied guests, and then at the special event, you've got club members, their accompanied guests, and prospective members. I'm just wondering why prospective members are in one, not the other.
not the other. That's a good catch. Yes. Okay.
Jack, does the word occasional need to be in that last paragraph, although members may occasionally bring a dish to share with other members?
Which, you said,
The very last line of chartered club activity. Although members may bring, can you just remove that occasionally? Why is it there?
why, I mean, Does that make a difference?
Huh?
It's gone. Okay, I removed it.
Yeah, thank you. Jack, just another question. Can alcohol be present at a charter club activity? And if so, should that be addressed here?
Well, a chartered, the intent is that a chartered club activity is an activity that you go to on a daily basis. So if you're going to the wood shop, or you're going to go to the beading place, or paper craft, or yoga, or fitness, you probably would not have alcohol there. Cards are different.
Jack? But the charter, or the charter club activity also includes your meetings. And if you have, for instance, if you're Zymergy, I mean, you might have, people can bring their bottle of wine. We don't, it's not sold at
Right, but they
charter
could-
club
right.
activities, but it can be present.
I don't see
Yeah,
anything here,
pickleball,
I
yeah.
don't see anything here that disallows it.
Right.
And it was questioned at an activity that I was at.
Okay, can you make excuse me, make a note of that, and I'll write up some verbiage to put that in both places.
Yeah, I think that last sentence there, the special events may serve alcohol according to association rules and Arizona statutes, is a big catch-all as well.
Oh, maybe I can just copy that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You guys are so smart. Okay, got it. Oh, so that it'll, right. It'll say chartered club activities.
Jack, before you,
Hold on. Yes.
okay, this whole section on charter club activity versus special events. I think we need to give people as much information as we can in multiple locations to avoid confusion. So one of the things I think we need to do, there is confusion as to what qualifies for what forms, when certain forms have to go in. I'm thinking under charter club activity, just before the second paragraph where it says other purposes, we might also want to clarify by saying charter club activities include, but are not limited to board meetings, general membership, business meeting. If I've missed any, add them to that. And then that are submitted annually between May 1 to 15 via the charter club activity calendar. Just so that they know those are the activities that fall under charter club activity.
Everybody good with that?
Or should we just reference the section in the other article?
Meaning further in?
Yeah.
mean,
I don't care which.
Just
way.
so they know
there's-
to,
At
Yeah,
least
if you can,
reference.
Yeah.
if you can make a note of the cross-reference,
okay.
and we'll put that in there.
And then so, along with that, then when you get to charter club special events, down on the very last paragraph, so,
Okay, well, let's wait till we get there.
oh, I thought you were there, sorry.
No. Okay, so we finished chartered club activity, 14.1.1. Okay, let's go to chartered club special event, 14.2.1, first paragraph. Oops. Any comments in the first paragraph? Okay, second paragraph.
Yeah, can I just,
Okay.
Can you just clarify something for me? The charter club special events may be held outside the club's usual meeting location or designated space. Shoot, now I lost my train of thought.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Well, no, not that part. It's the fact that a special event, so if you have an event that's held inside the club that you normally meet, that is not a special event. So most special events, I mean, in what case would a special event be held in their own designated spot?
So a special event is not dictated by where it's held. It's dictated by what its intent is. So if you go to the first paragraph, it describes what a special event is, and you may hold it someplace else. If your regular meeting space is the wood shop, and you're gonna have a membership dance, you might hold that in the social hall.
And if, on that same idea, so if we had an ice cream social and we held it at the wood shop, would that be considered a special event?
Because, yes, because it's a social purpose, it's defined for the purpose.
But we're not getting anything from the rec center for it. I mean, the members are bringing in the ice cream, the parts, and, you know, we're not charging.
Oh, if you're doing it, well, let's see, if you're doing it on your own, yeah, no
No
caterer.
caterers, no
Yeah, no
nothing.
caterers, then it's just, it's a special event, it's just not the normal activity.
But that special events, if I understand this correctly, have to be scheduled.
No. So.
I think we need to clarify
Okay,
that then.
it's important here to read the heading. This is a chartered club special event, which is to designate it separately from a special event put on by the rec centers. Okay, so that's one distinction.
Right.
But if you look at a chartered club activity, the activity is what the club is formed to do.
So in the case of the wood shop, it'd be woodworking.
Woodworking, exactly. If you choose to have a ice cream social, that's a special event. And it doesn't mean that, it doesn't limit you in any way.
But does it have to be scheduled then?
Well, you'll schedule it amongst your members, but that's all you'd have to do.
But it doesn't have to go through
But not through the rec centers. Yeah, there's nothing that prevents you from holding this when you want.
as long as it's in the place in the woodworking shop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to hold it elsewhere, then obviously you'd have to schedule it.
Question is then, if you have a special event, you're holding it in your room, it's your members, and, okay, maybe you need a couple extra trash cans, or you need some ice or something like that. It's in your room, it's just that you need a couple of things above and beyond what's
Yeah.
in the room. That's not necessarily classified as your twice a year or whatever
No,
special event. Okay.
no. I think that, the facility staff will work with you for those kinds of things. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we have to walk a fine line here between, relegating and dictating, strict things, and then also trying to hit all the exceptions. We'll have a document that'll be, 500 pages.
This, I think, is going to cause some issues with the third paragraph there of the express prior authorization. If a club is holding an ice cream social within their allocated space, within their normal time period, do they need express prior authorization from the recreation manager? So,
Okay, how about
Yeah.
this? Go back up to charter club activity, the second paragraph, where it says, club news and sharing club news, information techniques, or methods necessary to maintain the club's charter and membership and social interaction, or social interaction.
Methods.
It only becomes a big deal if you're requesting special, more tables, more whatever, to accommodate your event.
Okay, so but I think what Nick is pointing to is that if there is an admission fee, if you're going to charge people for a dance or an ice cream social
Yeah,
Christmas dinner.
or a Christmas dinner,
Yeah.
whatever holiday dinner.
yeah, I'm not the liaison for card clubs, Judy is, but one of the card club of which I am a member, for example, has a Christmas party during their normal hours for which a fee is charged and caterers come in. So we're in our normal space during our normal hours, and what we do is we just play fewer hands of cards because we've taken up a lot of time having a nice Christmas dinner. So would we require express prior authorization to do that?
Yes, because you would need a contract for your caterer.
Okay, so if we did it without catering, for example, another division of that card club just has pizzas brought in, for which I understand we don't need a catering contract. So in that case, again, do we require express prior authorization? Now, we do
But
actually.
Are you charging admission for that?
That particular one, no. But it's possible that we may require a contribution in future towards the cost of the pizzas, which is basically the same thing. As it happens, we do schedule these with the scheduling department, so all the additional trash cans and so on are provided, and ice and so on.
So
But my concern is that the express prior permission is going to just add a lot of admin for some clubs and for Casey and her team.
the reason this is here is that there have been clubs who have been charging people and have brought in outside folks into their club space, unbeknownst to or until after the fact. So that's why this is here.
Okay, so I have a question, how this affects an activity that I'm involved with. We have a club, we have 250 members. We have a lot of people who don't necessarily take classes, but we set 2 consecutive days a month aside, and we call it Coons Camp. They bring their machines in, they can leave them, they don't have to haul them home. It's a social event. In fact, a lot of the new members really like it. But we charge $5 for 2 days, okay? We supply beverages, we supply different, breakfast rolls in the morning, things like that. One of the main reasons too, and those funds are kept separate, so it's only paid for not only by the people who come in and participate. Occasionally, like when we were shut down with COVID and things were starting to come back up, we didn't want any, people would bake things and bring them in. We didn't want that, so we bought pizzas and packaged foods and things to be brought in. We have prizes that we give away, stuff like that. Another reason too is it's, like I said, it's $5, but we can only accommodate 44 people. So they come, first serve, there's a special type of sign up. Part of that too is to keep people from signing up and not showing. When I've got a wait list of 20 people, that we can, there's an incentive to at least get back to you and let you know, or just like some of us, I know there's times we've had special events and we reserve 150 spots and all these people say they're coming, and yet 25 or 30 of them don't show up that day. So, is something like this in the room that's really a different form? We learn so many different things there. It's sort of like a class on a lot of different things at once. Would that really be a special event?
So let me.
But we do charge.
Let me
yeah.
suggest an additional word here. So that charter club events that require an admission fee or financial commitment from non-card holder attendees,
Right,
would
put
that
it on.
would that
Yeah.
help? So what this is, so this is chartered, because chartered clubs are for club members, charter club events. So that require an admission fee or financial commitment from non-card holder attendees. Okay, so that won't work. Okay.
I see what you're trying to say though, Jack, because you're trying to say that if you have an event that you're allowing non-club members in that are gonna be paying that fee would be considered a special event, where it's just the club members paying the fee, then
Yeah,
it's,
I mean,
So basically, it's a members-only event.
exactly.
yeah.
It's a
Or, well,
members-only event.
again, the rationale behind this is, as I said, there are clubs that have had outside people come into their club events, and they're effectively letting in the public into their spaces. And that's something that we want, that I've heard loud and clear, that's not acceptable to the homeowners around here. So that's what this is, it's not doing that, it's, what I'm hearing you say is this is not addressing that situation. So we need to reword it somehow.
Jack, so I'm going to go back to what you had me make a note of earlier. I really think this whole section, if we call out what is typically a charter club activity and, you know, give the criteria under which it becomes a special event and make sure that it's very clear which forms apply to which, I think will clarify a lot for people.
Okay, so let's do this. I like that, Connie.
Make
Let's-
another note?
Well, let's, because I want to allow time for comments at the end.
Right.
Why don't we've gotten through number 13. We've got agreement through number 13. Connie and I will get, or whomever will get together with the other changes that we've talked about. And when we pick this up in September, we will start with number 14. Now, any other comments from the committee? Okay, I will open the floor to comments from the public. We're going to stop at 3 o'clock. When you come up, please sign in with your name and your rec card. Yes, just up through what we've covered so far, because we'll cover that later on. Just up through number 13.
Ron Wambach, 100988. Couple things. Rules versus guidelines. You see all the problems we just got in trying to decide what was a rule and what should have been a guideline and which way we're going. I think you're getting too rigid when you call it a rule if you're going to try to enforce this, because just in our discussions here, we really didn't know which way you were going on some of these things. And I think it becomes rather incumbent to say, let's give us a little balance here. We know which way we're going. Item number 2, associate members, is that defined beyond this? What's the age limit of an associate member? Is that in some other rules or regulations or anything? I don't know where I find that.
An associate member is somebody who lives in a house here in Sun City West, but whose name is not on the deed.
Correct, that's your definition. But is there an age restriction anyplace? Where, if so,
19.
and where is that located? That's not in the rules. It's not in here.
No, it's in the it's in the association bylaws.
It's in the bylaws.
Bylaws are the, help
Okay.
me out here. It's either the bylaws, okay, it's in the bylaws.
I looked at, yeah, I didn't.
Yeah,
see
any
it.
younger than 19, they cannot get a card.
Right, okay. And so it's bylaws. All I want right now.
Okay.
My name is Dale Hornian Toftoy. 39175 is my rec card number. Under the preamble, number 2, you indicated that these RR&Ps are going to be updated annually. Do you mean that we're going to go through this every year? What does
No.
that mean exactly?
No, they will, no, this is an unusual event.
No kidding.
Yeah, and this is going to be painful.
Yeah.
This is going to be painful. I'm not going to sugarcoat that, but this is something that we've gotten into trouble as the tournaments, leagues, and special events working group pointed out. There are a lot of clubs that are being treated unfairly and without equity. So there are a lot of exceptions that have been made that have not been enforced or even recorded. Clubs have seen one club do something and felt they were entitled to do the same thing, so they took off and did that. And what has happened is we ended up with a lack of enforcement on anything, and it was kind of chaotic. So what we're trying to do here is bring us back to earth, and this will help us get going so that in the future we have a better place to start from.
Maybe we could add the word reviewed/updated. I think that might go a little bit easier on everybody's feelings. And under definitions, number
I
2,
can go with that.
where we're talking about the annual elections, and the last part of that was that we are going to be required to announce at all club activities when we're talking about the annual elections, being posted for 30 days. That means 3 times a week, we're going to be saying, we've got elections coming up. That's how often we meet. You said announced at all club activities was the quote in that number 2, annual elections.
Yeah, whatever you need to do. I mean, you could post it on the bulletin board, you can put it on your website.
Okay, but the way it reads, it sounds like every time we have a meeting, which we meet in our club room 3 times a week, we've got it posted for the 30 days, and you want us to announce it at all club activities. Do you see the fine difference there?
Yeah, but I don't think anybody's gonna come in and bust you if you don't say it.
But you said these are rules that we
Well,
have to
they're
live
rules,
by.
yeah.
So which is
Okay.
it? I mean, is this
Okay.
a wiggle room thing? I mean,
Okay,
serious.
that's- then you have to announce
This is not
it.
a democratic thing.
Then you have to
So I
announce
just want
it.
to make sure it's, there in.
I mean, you should announce it anyway to make sure you have a quorum at your meeting.
Oh, yeah, yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
That's all right. We announce the week ahead every week. I just wanted to make sure that that's a wiggle room thing. The third item, when you're talking about definitions in number 13, we make a definition of executive officers. Would that be helpful? Because you didn't list, where there's a requirement of 4 officers. President, vice president, secretary, treasurer. By adding the word executive, is that helpful at all?
We just use the term officers.
Period. Okay, those are my 3 issues.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, I'm Sandra Cook. My number is 126921. I agree with the first gentleman about rules versus guidelines. Rules are rules, and a lot of these situations are dynamic and fluid, and not one set of rules is going to fit every situation. So I get that you want to kind of tighten down on things, but it just gets really tricky. Anyway, I'm curious about the definition of occasional invited guest. What is that exactly? What does that mean?
It means exactly what it says. Somebody who comes with you every so often periodically, maybe according to the rules of your club that says the person can only come 4 times or twice, some clubs say.
Okay. I'm also curious if it's this committee's intent to eliminate any inter-community competitions.
No.
Just say that.
No,
It is not.
it is not.
Okay. Feels like it is.
Hi, Lynn Kellis, 129,
120,
120.
129, 120.
First time I've been here, yeah. First off, I want to say I'm on the other side of the tracks here regarding the guidelines and rules. I believe that it needs to be rules. I have had some situations within our club in the last year or 2 that I have found, because it says guidelines, it's really slippery, and things that really needed to be enforced could not be enforced because it simply says it's a guideline. So I commend you on that, and I know some people may have feelings hurt, or it might be a harsh word, but it's a necessary word if we really are going to have some order in certain situations. So I appreciate that. My next question is there anywhere that we can go out and retrieve a copy of the red lines, just kind of review it, so maybe we have some notes at the time of the meeting?
Yes, it's posted on board docs.
I was just there, and I only saw the one from April. I did not see.
You have to go where it says meetings,
Okay.
and then go to, I think it's a featured meeting.
I
Karen?
did that.
And, or go to 2023.
It is there.
Go to
On
agenda,
Okay,
and it's attached to that.
perfect. I'll do that. Thank you. Oh, and I just wanted to clarify when you were talking about the insurance, the contractors who come in. I'm not sure where the you got to be licensed came in, because I know that we have artists who come in and they're obviously not going to be licensed, but they fill out the insurance form.
Yeah, no,
and
that was,
all
that was a question that was raised here.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're good.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
the charter club activities,
I
when
got-
we're talking about alcohol.
Okay, I got, time's up.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know we had a.
Yeah, we got the
2-minute
timer
time.
back there.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead, Lynn, go ahead.
Okay. No, I just had some concerns, some questions, you know, if you're talking about, it almost sounds like you're talking about a daily occurrence that people can come into the club with alcohol, which concerns me a little bit, you know, when you're talking about safety and people driving home and that kind of thing. I just hope that you guys give that a lot of consideration when you think about opening it up activity-wise, or be cautious about it. I mean, it's one thing if you're having like the ice
Yeah.
cream social, but if you're having day-to-day, when you're working in the club,
Well, you know, if you, I guess, from what I've learned, if you're a card player or you're a Zymergy person, I mean, that's kind of what you do.
okay, how do you differentiate that from somebody who's in the wood shop using tools?
Well, I would hope that the the wood shop and even the clay club and others who use, you know, hot devices or dangerous machines would have rules that would prevent that.
I don't have the answer to that. I just thought I'd put it
Yeah.
out there for discussion, maybe later on. Thank you.
Jack, would that be in their individual bylaws?
That's, I would think so, yes. Because, I mean, they're, according to the bylaws, they're supposed to be a safety person too. Yeah. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Jack. How are you? Lisa Vines, 123774. While I am a governing board director, I'm just speaking as an owner member. I kind of waited for everybody to finish because I think this question went back to something previously, and since we're at the end doing comments, I think this is probably something for Casey to answer, but there seemed to be some confusion on the general membership meetings. So I was hoping you could clarify this. So if a club has their own space and they are having more than the 3 to 4 general meetings in the season, is that still a problem because they're not using up, getting a rec center venue? And if that is allowable? And the second part of the question is, so if a club is doing the more than 3 to 4 allowed and using a rec center venue, are these clubs charged or going to be charged for the additional meetings?
All right. Question 1 for your own space. I do know that some clubs do, in fact, do that. And to be honest, we don't know when they do that. They don't even list it on that CR6. So it's not really anything that we know about. It's just become something that we've noticed. I don't want to say it's being taken advantage of, but some of these bigger clubs sometimes do need more meetings because they have more people to reach out to. So it's got to be expanded a little bit. I understand that. I can list off at least 3 clubs that have that issue right now.
As I probably could too.
Well, I have 10 listed, and then I stopped and realized, oh my goodness, it's gonna take us a while. So, as far as having your own space, if you have the space in your own dedicated room during your time, I don't see a problem with it, as long as it's club business and that's what it's for. However, if we are using Palm Ridge or Social Hall, that's when it becomes kind of an issue, or even the lecture hall, because I know some clubs do use this room as well. So we are very limited on space for 93 clubs. You know, and to be honest, there are some clubs that are very passionate about what they do, and they do a very good job, and I appreciate that a lot. But we have to take into consideration the other clubs that need to use it as well.
Right, right. So as far as the charging goes?
No,
No.
at this point, we don't charge. We try to be very fair because we require that. Now, I did put in an email that if you're going over that 3 and you're requesting additional things, coffee, that kind of stuff, we would charge the small things, but not the setup fees, not the room fees, anything like that. We would try and keep it as reasonable as possible. But most of the clubs not all of them, but most of the clubs that do more than 3 don't even request those kind of things. They clean up after themselves. They do a lot of their own.
Okay, okay. Thanks, Casey, appreciate it.
And may I add, thank you for asking that. Every club is so different.
Yeah.
So this is very hard for this committee to come up with rules or guidelines, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
And it's just something to keep in the back of your head. They're trying to be fair, they're trying to be reasonable with everybody, and you got Clay Club, you got Wood Shop, you got Pickleball, you have Boomers, you have such a different wide variety, and that's why Sun City West is who we are. So
Right.
I hope for good expectations out of this.
Right. Thank you so much,
Thanks.
Casey. Appreciate it.
Hi, Jolene Piaskowski, 132268. The number 12, the council, where you were kind of surprised you just kept it in. I would like to see golf and Stardust there, because if anyone else reads it, they're going to wonder what the council is. And right now, we just have 2, right, Casey? Golf and Stardust. So it would be nice to have that verbiage in there.
What we tried to do with these definitions is to make it so that they don't need to be updated every time there's a change. So if one of those councils goes away, or one of the council, or a new council is added, we then have to go through the process of redoing the RR&Ps. So I think there is a list on the website. SCW Clubs, I think, has the councils, so they are listed there.
Okay.
And maybe we reference the list.
Yes.
My name's Dave Bennett. My card number is 137887. I just have a question about enforcement of rules. Not the committees per se, but if the governing board and directors make what I feel are petty, arbitrary, elitist votes on things, overriding 20 years of legal precedents. And in my case, I bought my house based on what I knew of the softball. And after I came and started playing, they completely changed the rules on me. So you guys are going to be making and enforcing rules that are coming down from the governing board and directors who I feel may have broken legal precedents to, at this point, to like a bait and switch. I wanted to play with members of Sun City as well as Sun City on the same team, and I did it for a year. And then suddenly after I moved here, I've been here 2 years, you changed the rules on me, and I can't play the same rules that have been going on for 20 years. So I'm just complaining. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, this is the first time I'm asking a question. Jackie Rigg, 1266958. I don't know if everybody agrees with me, but to me, the definition of events, club events, and special events, to me seem almost like the same thing. For our club, Zymergy Club, all of our events we cannot have in that small club. We have over 550 members, and we can only fit maybe 50 to 60 in some of our events. And some of our big events, we have to go to outside venues, which we pay for. But it doesn't really, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't really identify specifically what is a small event, a special event, or a regular event. We try to have regular small events in our club, But consequently, that means we have to turn down a whole lot of people.
Well, I'll respond to that by saying I think the reason that we halted where we did is that there's some reworking that we need to do in those definitions. And one possible outcome is we don't make those distinctions anymore.
Okay.
So we will take a look at those.
Okay.
And that's why we'll start with 14 in the fall.
Great, thank you. The one other thing I need to ask, because I'm not sure this answer. If our club adopts a couple policies, new policies with regulations of things that go on in the club, that we change a few things, do we have, so we have to send them into the rec center to be added into our bylaws, is that correct?
Are you adopting a bylaw or a policy?
A policy.
The policies are subservient, bylaws trump policies.
Okay,
But policies do not have to be approved by the rec centers.
okay, so if we type up and the board agrees on a new policy that would affect people, do we have to announce it? Do we have to post it? Or can we just put it in our folder? I mean, what do we do with it?
Well, if you adopt a policy that everybody has to wear blue on Tuesday, then you need to notify your membership and you need to post it in a place that it's available to your memberships on your website, on the bulletin board, whatever it may be.
Okay, but it doesn't need to go into the bylaws.
It doesn't need to go into the bylaws, no.
Perfect, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, then with that, this is the last meeting of this fiscal year. I thank the committee for their service, and we will see you in September. Yes, sir.